How's it going, everybody? I got my cup of coffee sitting in the dining room right now with a nice fire going in the background because it is freezing today. I got some stuff to do out in the barn, but wanted to come in, warm up quick, have a cup of coffee, and before I head out, I got so many questions in the last answer video I did that I decided to make a part 3. So this is part 3. Here's some questions that have been sent to me in the comment section, and just in general. So and messaging me too. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I have my cup of coffee here. We're gonna move out of the office. We're gonna sit here because got the stove going back there, and it is freezing outside. So I'm gonna sit here in my nice farming, fixing, fabricating sweatshirt with by the stove a little bit here. So let's. I'm gonna look down and read this question from Wisconsin Farmer. Let's see. Mike, please do another Q&A down the road. I might have a question or two. How did you come up with the username? Looks like you're renovating your house. I do love your videos. Because of my busy schedule and health, I don't normally watch as many videos as I want to. So, yeah, I'll do another Q&A. I'll do one right now because there seem to be so many questions. So, sorry about your health. I hope you whatever's going on with you health-wise, I hope you feel better. And yeah, I hope everything works out for you. That being said, don't normally watch the don't normally watch as many videos as you want to. That's the good thing about YouTube. I've said this to other YouTubers. This isn't like network TV where you have the Nielsen ratings and it's like, well, I've got this time slot and I better draw whatever rating or else my channel's gonna get canceled. The good thing about YouTube is you can I can post a bunch of videos, and if you're busy, you can, whenever you get a chance to go on, you can be like, oh, look, Mike posted some videos. I'll have to get caught up and watch some of them. Or if you like some, you can say, I remember a couple years ago he posted a video, and, I'm going to go back and check that out. And, so that's the good thing about it. It's a nice little time capsule. It's not like you don't have to do it the moment that they're posted. But how did I come up with the username? It's pretty simple. It's my name. And then 7810 is a tractor that I would like to have on this farm someday. There's always been something, growing up, the 55 series was like the tractor. It was a while. We got I'm trying to remember when we got the 45. But, for the most part growing up, it was let's see, I was a young man when we got the little guy when we got the 4055. My dad bought that brand new in 1992. So we had, basically growing up, we had the 4055, the 2940, a 3020, and the 3010. I think basically just those 4 tractors. I spent a lot of time raking hay, tedding hay with a 3020, raking hay with the 3010. The only time we raked with anything different is up behind the houses here. It's a pretty steep hill, and my dad never wanted us to have an open station tractor when he'd put us out on the rake, so I'd have the 2940, which ironically that's our raking tractor now. So, but a little heavier tractor, and just something with a cab, God forbid, in case something happened. But there was something about the 10 series. I like the badge and everything. That's why I use it in my logo. I didn't know what to do for a logo. I'm not a digital creator or anything like that. So when I wanted to come up with something, it's like, let's be simple. Let's like the badge sticker on a tractor. Take the 7810 from like the John Deere stripe and put Mike P on there. But those 7010, the 8010 series tractors, I really like them. I like that. I like the way the black kind of shade, has the shading on the numbers. I just think it looks so, I love the way that logo looks. Tractors themselves, like I said, growing up, fan of the 55 series, that was always the tractor. If you got to drive the 4055, you felt pretty special. The 466 engine was such a good engine that they put in them. And from what I read, the 496 is people love them, that were in the 77, 78, and then the 8010 series tractors. Those 8.1 liter 496. They people love those engines. So, and they sound really good. I listen to them. You go on YouTube and watch a video on it, and they sound really good. I did get to drive my buddy's 7810 one time, bringing it home from the fair, and it's just a great tractor. We borrowed our wheel loader was down once. We borrowed a 6400, and that had the power quad in it, and with the right hand reverser, the 16-speed power quad. Is such a nice transmission. So I've always liked the 7010s. 7810s, the biggest of the 7010s. So that would be a nice one to have. Yeah. So that's how the username came about. So I hope I say your name right, Michael Brandeo. What size barn are you going to build? Michael, we're not there yet. We're just scratching the surface of that whole thing. We have gone to look at a few barn. I know a lot of people are like, make sure you look at robots. We did go look at a robotic barn, a beautiful robotic barn, not too far from here, up in Sherburne, New York. Beautiful robotic barn, and yeah. So we're going to look at everything. So as far as what size barn are we going to build, I mean, that we haven't even decided. There's a lot of things we haven't even decided on yet. So we're not at that planning stage yet. We know we're at the beginning steps. We know we want to do something in the near future. So that's kind of where we're at now. And your second question, Michael, was what do you think about stepping it up to an 8 Series Deere? Depends. Which 8 Series are you talking about? The newer ones like an 8R, a 7R, an 8R. We'll just stick with your question. That's definitely out of the question. An 8010 series, like I said, they're absolutely beautiful tractors. If our 4555, that's running 200 horsepower. So if we ever wanted to replace that, I don't know if we'd want to get something bigger. If we had a bigger disc, because the 45 handles our John Deere disc, and that's an 18-foot. I really like the looks of the Landau discs. I think they make a really sharp disc. So if we ever got a Landau disc, yeah, I could see us going with like an 8310 or 8410, something like that. And then, 8410 is I think that's like 235 PTO horsepower. Nice heavy duty, big tractor. That could go on the chopper too. So I wouldn't be opposed to it. They generally cost a little bit more money than like the 45 or like a 4955 or even a 4960. So that's kind of why we don't have them. It's all about money. Delicious. Game Farmer. I know you bought the 4040 from Andy back in the 2000s. I think telling a story of you buying it would make a cool tractor talk. It would. The only problem is there's not much story there. We didn't buy the 4040 off Andy. Andy traded in Andy Horgan was the previous owner of the 4040, and he traded it in for, I don't know what he traded it in for. I'll have to ask him. I know I've asked him before, and I forgot what he traded it in for, but Andy traded it in. Casanova Equipment knew my dad was looking for a tractor around that 90 to 100 horsepower. They called him up and said we had a farmer up here just trade in a 4040. I don't know. My dad didn't go to Andy's farm. I don't know where they had it. I think they were using it out in the field, and he stopped and looked it over, and they were about to trade it in or something like that. If I got the story right, I don't know. I'll have to ask my dad. My dad went up and looked at it. I didn't go up and look at it. So, it's not much story there. Andy was trading it in. Kaz knew that. Oh, that's what they kind of want. That's like the size they kind of want. Called us. That is something we'd want. So, yeah. So that's kind of how that worked. There's really not a huge story behind it. It's not like we went to the farm, met Andy, talked to him. He showed us over. Looked over the tractor and all that. So, yeah, there wasn't much of a story there. The first time I met Andy in person, I was going to look at the grain cart we have. So I was going to go look at that. So I took a long way. That was up in Penn Yan. So I took a long way to Penn Yan. I took Route 20 out to Geneva and then dropped down from Geneva to Penn Yan. So while I went that way, I swung over to see Andy, and that was like right after his 7810 caught on fire. So we sat there and talked for quite a while. It was great talking to him. He showed me around a few things, and it was just a great day. You know, we talked quite a bit, and then he had to go do some things regarding the 7810. So Tim Wilcox, in his first question, he was asking about the mixer, our silage cart there, and if that mixes. I said it didn't mix, and how we kind of how it kind of just, I run both the haylage and silage. It kind of mixes a little bit in the conveyor, and then when it's unloading, it kind of mixes up. So his question, it says, oh, I put the picture of me and Tim from the Farming Some Bits show. And he said, it's surprising to see the picture. Considering your answer to the question, how does that include having the nutritionist? Great video, Mike. So it's not a perfect way of doing, let me take a sip of coffee here, Tim. I love my coffee. So it's not a perfect way of doing it. We still would like to get our TMR mixer, but so how I started doing that was we had some haylage that we chopped, and it was second cutting haylage from a previous year, and it was very, very dry, and the cows were not eating it good. So I'd be putting it down, and then it just, they wouldn't be eating, and I'd have to go through before doing silage at night and kind of spread it all out. They would eventually eat it. Once I put the corn silage on top, they would eventually eat it, but it just took a while. So the one day I just ran a little corn silage in it too, and they seemed to eat it a little better. So, and the reason why it was so dry was first cutting's not bad, third cutting's not bad, but in second cutting, that's right in the heart of the summertime, and you really want to be careful. I mean, we have it's like you're talking high 90s, and the sun is just beating down. You'll see in my videos, it always seems like second cutting is always a little drier, and you know, we'll mow it and try to get right out there and chop it, and then you're just, and here's the thing. With those sealed silos, you can't, it's not like, well, just mow it and then chop it that day. Well, you can't do it too wet either, because then you're going to have a nightmare for your unloader. So you got to let it dry down a little bit. And the problem is you let it dry down a little bit to where the first couple laps are perfect, ready to go. But then when you're getting to those other laps, you know, it's just, the sun's beating down, and it just keeps drying down the rest of it. So it gets drier and drier as you go. And it's not ideal, and it gets a little dry. So that was another good thing about our getting the merger, is now I can put multiple rows on, and the top will be, you know, a little drier, and it'll kind of insulate some of the bottom rows there, and hopefully that solves that question, or solves that problem. But second cutting's always a little drier. But anyway, this was really dry, and so I just kind of mixed a little corn silage in there just to get him to eat it better. Once we got through it, I stopped doing it. And then when our butterfat was going down a little bit, once again, we were into some haylage. They weren't eating too well. So I was talking things over with our nutritionist, and I said, well, what about doing this? And so she came, and I adjust the speed on the two silo unloaders, you know, running the corn silage a little higher than the haylage. So that way, when it was all coming in, she could look at it and say, you know, okay, well, you know, she's grabbing handfuls of it and looking at it. She goes, okay, I kind of like this mix. As far as weighing it, I can't weigh it when it's going in, so it's not like it's a perfect thing by any means. I can't say, okay, let's put 1,000 pounds of corn silage in, and let's put about, I don't know, 500 pounds of haylage in, and we'll mix that. It's not, I can't weigh it out like that. How we kind of weigh it out to know what we're putting down is I will take the silage cart and we'll fill up a bucket, and then we'll hang it from her scale, and then say, okay, that's, you know, X amount of pounds, and she'll dump it out, and then until we get to the weight we want, and then she'll say, okay, now look at that pile, that's how much you need to be feeding per feeding. So she came out, she says, okay, this mix looks good, so use those speeds on your silo unloader, and, you know, kind of have this the mix looked like that. We weighed it out. She goes, okay, this is how much you want to be feeding. So, that's kind of how we did it with the nutritionist there and everything. And then, of course, the grain and how much grain to give the cows and everything is all through we have a great nutritionist. Alyssa's wonderful. She's a really good cow person. I rely on her quite a bit. Morgan 398. Thanks for the answer videos. I've been curious to know what would be your idea, I think it's ideal, 7810. What you think would fit your operation the best. Also, what other tractors would you might be interested in on the farm? Keep it up, always appreciated. Thank you, Morgan. Honestly, right now, and I think I said this when I did kind of an overview, when we went back to, if you guys have followed my channel for a while, we had a self-propelled disc vine, and it was great, loved running it, comfortable running it. That needed a lot of work. We needed to replace the whole front of it. The engine was great, the tractor part of it ran great. We needed like a whole new head for it, and or put in a lot of money to get it fixed up. And what we ended up doing is we bought the one we have now, used one, pull type mower. And we were looking at, we like the John Deere cutter bar. We just like the John Deere. Kazov Equipment, which is now SM Partners, has been so wonderful as far as parts and service and stuff like that. We've had ton of good luck with them. So we kind of wanted to go John Deere with the mower. So we were looking at like $49.95s. My buddy Brock was selling, because he got a Krone Big M, and he was selling a, not only was he selling his pull type mower, but he was selling his, what are they, a R450 he had. Ended up going out to Colorado. It was just a hair out of our price range. Beautiful mower though. My buddy Brock keeps his equipment in really good condition. But we had just gotten the Brilliant Roller Harrow. So I really pushed for a pull type, and the reason why I pushed for the pull type and going backwards, as some people put it, was I knew we were going to be short a tractor and we were going to need another tractor. So I seriously think, because we've talked about updating this mower too, because we've updated just about all the hay equipment with the exception, I know we just got that mower not too long ago, but it's an older mower with a lot of acres on it. So we've talked about updating that, and we're racking up the hours on the 45. The reason why we're getting the 45 is kind of keep the hours tame on the 40-55, and then not rack up so many hours on that. So we get the 45. It kind of divides the jobs up there. Plus we went with the bigger chopper, and we were going with heavier tillage equipment. So we now we're really racking up the hours on the 45. So I really would think a 7810 would be perfect. Four-wheel drive, dual wheel. In tillage season, I could put the 45 in the chisel plow. That handles that perfect. That's a great match for that chisel plow. Put the 7810 with the duals on it on the disc, and so I'm not swapping going back and forth between the chisel plow and the disc. It's not a huge thing, but it'd be nice to just leave the 45 in the chisel plow and leave the 7810 on the disc, and then if I got a disc, you jump in the 7810. If you got a chisel plow, jump in the 4055. That'd be great. Once tillage is done and you're in your summertime, you could just take the duals off, put the 7810 on the mower, because that'd be a perfect fit for the mower, and then put the 45-55 back on the chopper, because as it sits right now from the factory, they're around the same horsepower, but our 45, when we got it, after running it a year, we took it up to Kaz to have a year-end service done on it, and they dynoed it, and it was running at 200 PTO horsepower. So it's running a little higher than the average than the normal factory horsepower for that tractor, and so we'd run that on the chopper because it's a higher horsepower tractor. But if something happened to the 45, like this past year, instead of running the chopper on the 40-55, we could run it on the 7810, which is a bigger tractor. So I think it'd be great. As far as other tractors go, we would like a. And last year we were thinking, all right, do we go with a bucket to put on the 40-40, because we're doing all these round bales. Our skid steer will lift a round bale up, but it really struggles when it's already up high as far as picking it up. If I get the forks or a bale spear, I can pick it up okay. When it's on the ground and I just got to pick it up a little bit and tip it back, it'll do that fine. But as far as picking it up pretty high in the ground, it really struggles with that. With the bale hugger, you're not going to pick it up from up top. You got to get underneath it and pick it up. So a bale hugger is just not working out with that. It's really going to struggle. It's just too small of skid steer for that. And the wheel loader will pick up anything we got. So the wheel loader also does not have a road gear. That wheel loader doesn't. So that wheel loader is perfect for around the farm. Right now we just don't have any other options, so we have to take it into the field, and it takes a while to get in there and everything like that, to get to the field and everything like that. And then since it doesn't have a road gear, if it stays in the field and it's, you know, we did a lot of round bales and there's more than one day's worth of hay to get, you know, now we don't have the wheel loader back here for the night to feed hay, silage, whatever we are using it for the day. So it'd be nice to just leave the wheel loader here, get a bucket tractor. I borrowed my brother-in-law's 4030 and his 4050 that had a bucket on it. That was great. Something like that would be perfect. Maybe, you know, 30 series would be kind of cool because we already have a 40, a 50, and a 55 series. So maybe to, you know, complete the Soundguard series and go with the 30 series. But something with a bucket on it that we can use for utility work, that we can, you know, that's the nice thing about the 10 series also is because there's a tractor right now that I said a couple of videos ago in my tractor talk, the Burkholder down, I think it's Burkholder. I think people said that's how you say it, down in Pennsylvania. They got a great, beautiful line of not just John Deere's. They got Fords and everything. They got a beautiful TW15 down there. But they have a 7610 four-wheel drive with a bucket with a 740 loader on it. It's got the left-hand reverser, which is nice for loader work. That tractor would be perfect because the nice thing about the 740 loader is you can, you know, if it's not the summertime, we could take the bucket right off it, just, you know, leave the, you know, the bucket frame on it and everything, and we can, like tillage season, when you could use that 7810, that'd be a nice one for the moldboard plow if we had something to moldboard plow. In the wintertime, we could put it on the spreader if we just need a little something extra for those snowy conditions, or a wet spring or something like that. It'd be nice to have the four-wheel drive on it like that. But that tractor looks immaculate. It's got under 3,000 hours, so I'd hate to see the price tag on it. I have a feeling it's a little out of our price range, but something like that would be nice. Rowdy8 says, enjoyed the Q&A videos, Mike. If you do another, I'd be interested in what brand of milking equipment your farm uses. So instead of talking about it, let's just go down to the milk house and show you. So we have a Surge milking system, as you can see. It's pretty old, but as you can see here, we have the Surge Eclipse units here. I'll put that back in. I'm not sure what we had when I was a kid. It was Surge. I'm not really sure exactly what it was, as you can see here. So I'm not sure exactly what the units were back in the day, but I know they were different than the ones we have now. But yep, we've always had, as far as back as I can remember, we've always had Surge. I think my uncle had De La Val. We never had Bowmatic or anything like that. It's always been, that's always been the, well, we've always had the Surge, you know, collection jar there, and the Pyrex glass collection jar, and the milking line. So we've had different units back in the day, but no, just Surge milking units. So that was part 3 of the Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed these series of videos. A lot of good interaction back and forth. I hope I didn't ramble on too long. I didn't say a lot of ums and uhs. That upsets some people, I guess. But I hope I didn't say too much of that. But anyway, yeah. Thumbs up if you like this video. Drop me a question or comment below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, thumbs up to you. I totally appreciate it. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one, everybody.